Awesome. So, Daryl, welcome to the Empty Crypt. I am so excited to have you on. And so, for all the people out there who may not know exactly who you are and what you do, can you introduce yourself for us so we can kind of get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Daryl Pennington, and I moved to Minnesota from Colorado. Um, I had a career as a personal trainer, a martial arts instructor, private detective, bounty hunter. I did a lot of different things. So, and then I went to school, finished my degree out, and I wrote Bloodscent, the screenplay Bloodscent, as a school project, and passed it on, and Phil picked it up, and here we are.
Nice. So let's take a step back. So it looked like you had an extensive career, being a martial arts, being a detective, and all this stuff. So how did you even get into the whole screenwriting? Like, how did that come about?
Well, in 2003, I had a car accident, and I broke my neck, and so after that I really couldn't do martial arts personal training. So I started writing, and I've written, edited, and published about, I don't know, almost 30 books now on various subjects, mostly about espionage and covert operations, because I kind of wanted to write a spy story. So that was my form of research. And and I wrote Bloodscent as a crime story with some paranormal horror overtones, because I wanted to mash up two different genres, and hopefully get an A on my project. So I got an A, and my teachers told me, it's pretty good, maybe you should send it out. So I did. So.
Nice. So when did you actually write Bloodscent, like the screenplay for that?
About 2019, I think.
Okay, so 2019 you wrote it, and then did you
I was late. It's like late bloomer in college. So,
but no, that's fine though. We all get our different kicks in life. But did you expect for the executive producer of Terrifier to pick up your screenplay?
I did not. Quite frankly, I didn't know what to expect. That was the very first project, the very first screenplay I've ever written, and I was a complete novice to the whole process, and I just passed it along to a friend by the name of Stephen Robert Alexander, and he passed it on to Phil, and Phil says, I want to do it. So Bloodscent was, took me in a different direction than writing spy novels. So
yeah, it's usually those ones that you don't really expect to, and that really starts to carve your path. Now, with that being said, though, can you give us a little details about Bloodscent? So, what's some of the backstory there?
Okay, well, the what I wanted to do was kind of do a homage or replicate like James Fenimore Cooper's kind of a gothic western frontier story, and then I wanted to add elements of John Ford's westerns with the iconic scenery and so forth. So that's why I picked Colorado as a setting, because it has those deep canyons and dark canyons with forests and beautiful peaks and mountain ranges. And so I had to pick a theme, and the theme is like, let's say, okay, in all this beauty and this grandeur, there's something deadly, something evil that no one really suspects is existing there. And this, my protagonist, Rachel, becomes, well, she becomes wrapped up in that, and she seeks until she finds answers, and then hell breaks loose.
Nice. So, do you guys know when you're going to be? I know that's probably more of a question for Phil, but I'm pretty sure you're filled in as well. Do you guys know about when you're going to be filming Bloodscent?
Bloodscent is going to have to wait probably on Terrifier 3, my
Okay.
understanding. I mean that, you can't, I guess you can't deny like the enormous popularity, the smash hit that Terrifier 2 was.
Oh
So
yeah.
so it's like there's like screaming hordes of people who want to see Terrifier 3. But we're getting to Bloodscent just as quickly as we can.
For sure. And
Because
I would imagine, having someone like Phil, and I know the boys over from Fuzz on the Lens are going to help out with the project. So pulling some of those resources, from Terrifier and Terrifier 2 can really, blow up Bloodscent, like having their expertise on, filming, because like you said, like the huge success Terrifier 2 has been. I mean, you get to bring some of that same exact crew over. So where do you see Bloodscent going whenever it's filmed? Like, do you see it being this big movie?
well, Phil has got some great ideas for some of the scenes. I'm kind of going a little bit far afield, but bear with me, please. I wrote Bloodscent, and I wrote some of the scenes in there purposefully to be sort of interpreted different ways, like strictly in action, or like say with a horror element. I mean, it could go either way. Several of those scenes I wanted to have like that, because I wanted to pitch it to somebody, and I didn't know how they wanted to interpret it. And Phil is interpreted so to bring out some of that brilliant special effects that we see in Terrifier 2. So that's where we're going to go with it in terms of I believe the film's production. And as far as, do I expect it to be a hit? Yeah, man, I expect it to be a hit.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great story with a great character, and it's a story that I think a lot of people will be drawn into because of the compelling nature of the plot. And I am very, very happy, very, very humbled to be associated with Phil Falcone and the Terrifier crew. That, I mean, they're geniuses. I mean, I'm blessed. I'm very happy. I'm lucky. I'm a lucky guy, and I want to see this. I want to see this be like great, as great as the script calls for.
Oh, yes, sir. Definitely. I definitely think, you're in great hands. I mean, these guys are blowing away the world right now, but it sounds like you have a great screenplay on your hands. I'm excited to see it, especially, are you guys going to be filming here in Colorado?
Yes, I pretty much insisted it had to be done on location in Colorado.
Nice. So have you guys kind
Absolutely.
of a map where you're going to be filming, like as far as like just like a city or a mountain range that you guys want to film at?
I wanted to do it into the Central Rockies or somewhere along the western slope, because I'm really familiar with that.
Mhm.
But it really comes down to there's some scenery and locations that we looked at when I was back there for the Rocky Mountain Nightmare,
Yes, sir.
and they're pretty doggone gothic looking. I mean, I think we could do some good work on the Front Range too. So it'll come down to Phil and and his crew, and hopefully me, going around and doing some surveys and deciding what would be the best frame for that movie. And I'm sure we'll actually use multiple locations. I just am not really sure exactly what, but I've got some ideas.
Nice. Now, have you kind of thought about who you want to see in your movie, as far as like the celebrity actors or actresses that you want to have in your film?
I did, and then after talking to Phil, that's going to be something I believe is going to be kind of in his wheelhouse. He has some personal relationships with some pretty significant, some pretty prominent people, and to be honest, the lead, I think there'll be a lot of actors who want to be the lead. This is a challenging role, and I think that there'll be some great talent who want to rise to the occasion. So I'm looking forward to that part. I want to meet some of these people and talk to them, because I know that this is going to be a great film. I know it, and we'll want to get the best on it. The best involved in it.
For sure. And the lead name is Rachel, correct? So like, have you right? Is the lead name Rachel?
Yes.
So like,
female lead.
So now, if you had your choice, is there a particular actress that you would have, like just off the record, like if you just wanted to see somebody, fulfill that role that you created, who would it be?
Well, there's let's see. I'm kind of old school, so I'd like to. I'm talking about when we're going way back, and this, we would never get this particular actor, but it'd be Meg Ryan or someone like that. That's
Okay.
Old school. We need someone who can physically could do some really physical acting as well as dramatic acting, and so when I wrote it, I had, of course, had some people in mind, but now that I've written it, it's been several years, and there's a whole new crop of actors coming up all the time, and Phil has his finger on that more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I, quite frankly, at this point, don't really have anybody in mind, because, like I said, I'm old school, and they're, quite frankly, probably not appropriate for the part now. So,
got it. Okay, makes sense. Now, are you guys going to be doing? Is this going to be a self-funding project, or are you guys going to launch a Indiegogo campaign?
Again, that's kind of Phil, but we're going to have some investors involved. We think we can. We think with the crew and with the reputation of the crew and the strength of this screenplay, the script, we think there's going to be some people who would be very interested in investing in it.
Nice. Okay. So for any, maybe, I know Phil had made a comment at Rocky Mountain, if any investors, find these videos, to definitely hit up Phil to talk a little bit about investing in Bloodscent. So, I mean, I'm excited for this, man. Like, this sounds like it's going to be something good, something relatively newer to, I know it's not exactly horror, but it's like, it has the thriller, has the supernatural, has all those aspects that we can all gravitate to. So when you wrote this, like, what headspace were you in when you made this thriller?
I wanted to write a story about someone who makes a promise and gives up everything to keep that promise, and is willing to sacrifice herself to make sure that justice is done. In other words, it's essentially, it's a, you know, in many ways it's like a revenge story, but it's a revenge story that has many new twists in it that they're going to be surprising. They're not what you expect in like a regular, you know, gunfighting revenge story. It's going to be much different than that. Bloodscent is I've taken that and kind of twisted it, you know, the revenge story, and twisted it so that it's unique. And you know, I think it'll be entertaining because it's unique.
For sure. I mean, and just, just hearing you guys talk about it, I definitely think, is going to be different as well. Because when you talk about revenge, I instantly go to like two different movies. I go to John Wick, right? And then I go to I Spit on Your Grave. So that's two movies that I think about when it comes to revenge, more so I Spit on Your Grave. So how do you, I know it's not going to be exactly like that, right? But is there going to be some elements where, there's going to be a lot of gore and a lot of kills where Rachel essentially is taking revenge on someone who may have done her wrong?
Well, so you mentioned John Wick. So John Wick is basically, that's an action thriller. He knows who the bad guys are, and he goes after the bad guys. So that's a pure, straight up revenge. In this, the antagonist is not known. It's a more of a mystery with with a lot of gore involved, until she finds out who, what's up, and then it turns into John Wick.
Nice. Okay, man, I'm excited. So I know, I know this is the very beginning stages, but will there be any like art covers that people can be teased with, like anything that fans of the horror community could pick up and be like, oh man, this is going to be the next big thing? Is there anything in the works?
That's something that Phil and I are talking about right now. Well, I don't
Mhm.
have a timeline on anything about when there'll be a teaser or something like that for Bloodscent. We will follow up on that, and I personally would like to see something, as soon as possible come out, because remember back in the day when Star Wars came out, way, way long time ago, like every weekend there was a newspaper ad said Star Wars is coming, and it was like 6-8 months before it was released. I'd kind of like to see some type of teaser, and I was thinking about it could be maybe put on YouTube,
Yeah.
just kind of keep repeating it, get a lot of views, build up some interest that way. So, but that's something, again, Phil's the master of the actual mechanics of cinema. I wrote it. I had a theater of the mind when I was writing it. Phil's going to be the guy that's going to say, okay, we're taking this from the page to the screen. And, I pretty much trust his instincts on that. So that's something that, for concrete answers, going to have to go to him on that. But I would love to see a teaser, obviously. I think it'd be a brilliant idea.
Nice. So, I mean, right now, since Bloodscent's kind of already written, what's next for you? Like, I know you're going to be focused on Bloodscent, but I'm pretty sure since this was your first actual screenplay, are you in the works of another screenplay?
I'm writing a screenplay. I'm writing a spy story. I'm writing a spy story about an exiled Ukrainian intelligence officer who runs kind of afoul of organized crime in America. And then I'm also writing, well, you've seen the TV series on Netflix. You've seen, what is it? Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I want to write kind of the real Cobra Kai, like what it was really like to be in the dojo wars back in the 70s, because that's when I came up through the ranks, and it's a little bit grimmer and a lot more violent, but it's like a modern Shaw Brothers kung fu movie is what I would kind of like to do.
Nice. So how long were you actually in martial arts?
Since I was 19, and I'm 71.
Nice.
So it's been a while.
So you're pretty deadly with your hands, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm registered in 14 states. I'm
Seriously?
kidding, man. I'm kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, what is it? I'm under the death penalty in 4 different planets. Like,
right.
So like,
you had me going for a second. I'm like, wow, but I mean, but you really have been doing it since 19 years old, yeah?
Yes, and I trained. You know who Mark Dacascos is, right?
I do not.
He was the actor he was in John Wick 3.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the guy they fought the climactic duel with.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So his father was my first teacher. So from there, then I went on to another school that was teaching a martial art that was, like 1,000 years old. It's called Yawara, and that's what I learned. So we had to represent, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So, I mean, Daryl, anything else you want to tell us just, about Bloodscent, or maybe about, your career before, you even started getting into writing?
The screenplay Bloodscent is it's like a story that every martial artist, old school martial artist, understands. It's about, for instance, the samurai were the policemen of their day, and so it was their duty to bring justice to wrongdoers. So I kind of wanted Rachel to grow into the part of being that kind of a warrior. And so in other words, I wrote it kind of from my background, how I was trained. And I just kind of projected it, into an unlikely star or unlikely character who then is forced to grow into that and does it better than her enemies ever suspected.
Nice, man. I cannot wait for this movie. Yeah. So, I mean, this sounds like this is about to be the next big thing. At least I hope it is, for you and for everybody involved. So do you have any social medias where people can go to ask you questions or anything like that?
Well, I am on Facebook, but I will be honest, I don't necessarily visit that page. But I guess I'm going to have to now because everybody in this business is on social media, and if I'm going to be in it, I got to be in it. So
yes, sir, definitely.
I tend to be kind of a very private person, but now I have to step out of my shell. So that's fine.
Definitely, especially with the news of this being another movie coming up. I mean, you're gonna get flooded with tons of questions, people just wanting to chat with you just to kind of get the backstory of Bloodscent. So you definitely probably want to, you know, get back on Facebook at least.
I guess I better look at that tomorrow, huh?
Yes, sir. Well, Daryl, I don't want to keep you for too long. I did appreciate, you know, you coming on to the show. Anything you want to say in closing?
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Bloodscent. It's something that has grown, very dear to me, that project, and I'm glad that we're having a chance to bring it to the screen. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about it. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yes, sir. Of course, of course. I think that's the best way to, just get a little bit out there. So I know there'll be probably plenty of other podcasters that may, wanna interview you and Phil, just so they can get the inside scoop of this new ultimate thriller horror movie that's coming. So I mean, you'll definitely have a lot more people want to talk to you about it for sure.
Okay, well, I look forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. No problem. Well, sir, you have a great night, and I'll catch up with you later.
All right, take care, buddy.
Sure. Have a
Bye-bye.
good night.